So I'm continuing with my review using a data set where I had some information on square footage and rent in two different areas, one in Queens, a borough in New York City, and in Nassau County. So in a previous video I analyzed square footage for the apartments in Queens and then also in Nassau County. So I'm going to use that summary data to discuss z-scores and the empirical rule. So I'm just going to copy down some information that we found last time. So in Queens, the mean was 863.3, that was in square feet, and the standard deviation was 343.9 square feet. And in Nassau County, the mean was 992.4 square feet, and the standard deviation was 393.4 square feet. So typically apartments in Nassau are larger than those that are in Queens, and there's also a little bit more variety among the apartments in Nassau than we find in Queens. That's according to just these the mean and standard deviation. But remember, these are not resistant. So let's though assume that there is a bell-shaped distribution in the for the square footage of apartments in Queens and in Nassau County. So this is a fairly big assumption here, but then I want to answer a question. Let's see. Which is larger, for its area? A 1,400 square foot apartment in Queens, or B, a 1,600 square foot apartment in Nassau County. I'm just going to put NC. All right, so obviously, just comparing one apartment to the next, this apartment is larger. There's no question there. But here we're looking at which is larger for its neighborhood, for its area. So I need to compare apples to apples. So this apartment to other apartments in Queens. So z-scores allow me to do that. And so the way that I calculate a z-score is I look at the difference from the mean, so the difference from what is typical in terms of the typical distance from the mean, which is the standard deviation. So for the apartment in Queens, I would take 1,400 minus the average apartment size, which is 863.3, and then divide that by the standard deviation, 343.9. And so that is on there. 1,400 minus 863.3 divided by 343.9. So the z-score I get is 1.56. So that's for the Queens. And what about for, so we'll call this z1. And z2, this will be for the apartment in Nassau County. I'll take 1,600 minus the average, 992.4, divided by the standard deviation, 393.4. And that's 1,600 minus 992.4, all divided by 393.4. And here I get 1.54. I'm just going to round it 2 decimal places. So this is for Nassau County. So this z-score is larger than this z-score. So relative to the its surroundings, the 1,400 square foot in Queens is larger than the 1,600 square foot apartment in Nassau County. So that's how we can use z-scores, a measure of position, to compare values from different distributions. All right, so I also want to show how we can use the empirical rule. So we're going to pick one of these. Let's use Nassau County, and again we're going to assume that there's generally a bell-shaped distribution here. So I'm going to just sketch a bell shape. In the middle, we're going to put the mean. In Nassau County, that was 992.4. And I'm going to draw 3 lines on the right and 3 on the left. These represent 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations to the right, and 1, 2, and 3 to the left. So each standard deviation in this distribution is 393.4. That's in square feet. So this line represents 992.4 plus 393.4. So 992.4 plus 393.4. In other words, this is 1,385.8 square feet. If I add another 393.4, I'll find that this is 1779.2. And a final time, 393.4, this is 2,172.6 square feet. On the other side, I need to subtract standard deviations. So 992 minus 393.4. This is 599.0. And if I subtract 393.4 another time, this would be 205.6, and subtract 393.4 a third time, and this would be negative 187.8, which wouldn't make sense in terms of square footage for an apartment, but those are the values that we're going to use. And I'm going to add some notes up from the empirical rule. 68% of apartments in Nassau County are between 599 square feet and 1,386 square feet. 95% of apartments in Nassau County are between 205 square feet and 1,779 square feet. And almost all, or 99.7% of apartments, now it won't make sense to interpret this as using the negative number, so I could just say between 0, or it might make more sense to say 99.7 are under 2,173 square feet. I'm just rounding there. So I'm going to use this opportunity to remind you of some options that we have with the empirical rule. I could also say that just this region right here, so that's half of that 68, that's 34% is here. So just between here and here is 34%. I'll remind myself that from here over is 50%, because this line down the middle also represents the median. So from there over is half. Now if I look at the difference, if I take this half and then subtract off just this bar right here, then from here over would be 50 minus 34, or 16%. So 16% of apartments in Nassau County are more than 1,386 square feet. Let's see, I can also just go from here to here. So that's half of my 95. So that would be from here to here is 47.5%. And again, I'm using symmetry. So this is the 50%, or to the left of this. Well, if that's 47.5, then that would mean from here over is 2.5%. So let's answer some other questions here. What percentage of apartments are between 205.6 square feet and 1,385.8 square feet? So for that, I'm basically looking for this region, and so I can just add the 47.5 with the 34. So this would be 47.5 plus 34, and 47.5 plus 34, oops, one more time, 47.5 plus 34, that's 81.5% are between 205 and 1385. Let's see if we wanted to say what percentage are between, or let's say are more than 599 square feet. So I'm looking for here over. Well, this is also 34%, just from here to here. And then I have my 50. So 34 plus 50, that would be 84%. So that's this 34 and this 50. All right, so I hope that helps with your understanding of z-scores and the empirical rule. Here we have an example in context of both of those concepts. All right, I'll see you next time.